Start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Taittriya Upanishad with Shankara Bashyam, the second chapter and the eighth section. All Upanishads have a central goal of revealing our own higher nature. Taittiriya Upanishad has a direct method of looking at ourselves, our own experiences as an individual in this world. So the whole focus of analysis is primarily on the Pancha Koshas, the 5 layers of our personality. And then it tries to say that our real nature is Atma or Brahman. When you look at the totality, we call it Brahman. When we look at the individual body, we call it Atma. What is Atma? In very simple terms, Atma means awareness, consciousness. This consciousness is a very unique concept of our entire scriptures. Very unique. You don't find this type of depth and analysis in other scriptures. There have been many philosophers in the past who have studied our own scriptures and they have also studied other scriptures. And ultimately, they all have tried to find out, who am I? At various times in our history of our philosophy, several people, great scholars, have studied the same Upanishads, the same Bhagavad Gita, and the same Brahma Sutras to arrive at the answer to the question, who am I? There is a general consensus amongst the scholars that I am of the nature of consciousness. That is my real nature. Now, where do we start our analysis? Whether we start from the world, the universe, and then arrive at this consciousness, or we start with our own body and mind and arrive at consciousness. This consciousness is the substratum, it is the adhishtanam for the entire universe. Now, how do I discover this consciousness? Mandukya Upanishad uses the methodology of analyzing the 3 avasthas: waking state, dream state, sleep state. It has a very unique method of arriving at the same consciousness, very systematically, very logically, which is what we are studying on Sundays in our discussions. In this discussion, in Taittiriya Upanishad, the 5 koshas are given prominence. The Upanishad has negated that I am not the five layers: Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. Up to this is very clear. What happens after I negate these five koshas is a very, very big challenging subject in all the Upanishads. Once you have negated our external body mind complex, then the revelation of consciousness as our higher nature is a extremely difficult subject matter. When you study all the Upanishads, you see whether you do Keno Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Pradanika Upanishad, you will find the same difficulty. All the Upanishad are trying to tell us that there is something beyond this body-mind complex, and that is the truth. Now, in this Upanishad, Taittriya Upanishad, we have entered that subject matter. In the 8th Anuvaka, there is a Mahavakyam, and this Mahavakyam tells us that there is the truth in this universe. The truth behind the Surya Mandalam and the truth behind this Vyashti Shariram is the same. That is the Mahavakyam. What is a Mahavakyam? Mahavakyam means the oneness between the external universe represented by Paramatma and the oneness with the Jivat. There is an experiencer of this universe in this body, and there is an experiencer of the total universe, which is called as Paramatma. If I am experiencing a small body and a small world, there must be a Paramatma. It's an infinite thing, which is much, much bigger than me. The Upanishad clearly states that there is oneness. But how do I, in my intellect, how do I understand this oneness is the challenge. Not easy. Therefore, what helps us is Shankara Bhashya. Whether it is study of Mandukya Upanishad, which I do on Sundays, or today on Saturdays, Taittriya Upanishad, I am covering Shankara Bhashya. That means, how did Shankaracharya analyze this Taittriya Upanishad and how did he teach his students? How are his teachings available for this Upanishad? Like I said, there have been thousands of scholars. You will find in Sanskrit literature commentaries of so many Upanishads by so many scholars from so many different philosophers also. All of them struggled with this subject matter. What is this Atma? What is this Brahman? So this subject matter is a very abstract science. I call it science because there is a systematic methodology which is there in the Upanishad, which unravels this mystery of Atma or Brahman. But you have to go through this logical analysis. It is a difficult exercise. You need attention, focusing ability of the mind. That is why they say the study of Upanishad requires preparation. But once your mind is prepared, then it becomes easy and we can understand the logic behind the Upanishad's statements of oneness. So in the next 4 or 5 classes, there will be the same topic. What is the Paramatma? What is Jivatma? Is Paramatma different than Jivatma? That is the topic. With this short introduction, I will now enter into the area where we left last week. And this is the slide which we did last week. So this is the Upanishadic verse, second chapter, 8th section, 12th mantra. This is what we are analyzing. And this is being analyzed in almost like 200 pages of or 200 slides. It's a very long commentary of Shankaracharya. He goes into various types of analysis. He throws up objections. Multiple answers are given. Multiple questions are there in this section. But the subject matter you should understand. What is the subject? This is the subject. The subject is Mahavakyam. The reality in the core of man. Reality means what? In this body mind complex, there is a sentient principle. Body mind is inert by nature. But now it is able to understand, it is able to hear, it is able to think, it is able to walk. How? How is this possible? Where is this sentiency? Sentiency means the power to see, the power to hear, the power to taste. That is what we call it sentience. So in the vision of the universe, of the Upanishad, the sun represents Hiranyagarbha Devata or Brahma, the firstborn out of Prajapati in this creation. So the sun represents the brilliance of consciousness. The same brilliance is also there in our mind. The same brilliance, but it is a minuscule. Whatever is behind the Surya Bhagavan and what is there in our mind is a one reality. That is what is being revealed in this mantra. It is the same thing which is revealed in the famous in the famous mantra Gayatri Japa. Gayatri mantra also talks about the oneness. Kathopanishad talks about Natatra Suryo Bhati. Same brilliance is discussed there. Jyotisham Jyotihi Bhagavad Gita talks about. All of them refer to the same subject matter. What is the subject? They all refer to the brilliance in the sun. Sun means it is not the physical sun. We are talking about the Devata, which is behind the sun, which is the controller of the sun's ability to shine and control the whole universe. Prashna Upanishad has a very big detail on this in chapter 4 of Prashna Upanishad, where this whole Gayatri mantra is analyzed and also how there is oneness between Vyashti and Samashti. So here in this mantra, the Upanishad reveals the oneness. Now I have to understand how is this oneness possible? That is what is the subject for the next 150, 200 slides. so that you know all the time you have to come back to this verse. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastito chetasaha yajñāsyācarata karma samagram praviliyate. The one who is devoid of attachment to the body and mind is established in knowledge, says Bhagavad Gita. So there is detachment, vairagyam from the body-mind complex. How do I understand this oneness is all going to be explained. Shankaracharya uses all these verses and then he tries to tell us how to analyze this oneness. Dukkeshu Dukkeshu manaha sukeshu vigataspраha vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadir muniruchyate. The second chapter, 56th verse, also talks about how one is free from attachment, fear, and anger. In the 56th verse of the second chapter, who is a jnani? Many of us, we try to understand, am I jnani or not? I have done so many Upanishads. I've done 3 Upanishads now. I've done Kaivalya Upanishad, Munda Upanishad, Keno Upanishad. Now I'm in the 4th Upanishad, Taittriya Upanishad, and I'm also doing Sunday class, which is 5th Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. If I'm studying Upanishads and Upanishad is supposed to reveal to me my real nature, am I a jnani? Am I a person? The best test for you, for any seeker, is this particular mantra. Am I free? Ask a question in your own mind. You don't have to answer it to anybody. Am I free from attachments? Attachments means what? Desires. Am I free from fear? Am I free from anger? Now, all these 3 belong to the subtle body, which is the mind. We should have the courage and the conviction to say, I am Atma, I am not the mind. Not once, but it has to be deep within us. Shankaracharya says that there are 2 consequences of jnanam. One consequence is my ahamkara is sacrificed in the fire of knowledge. The second is mamakara is sacrificed. Mamakara is sacrificed first because it is easier. Ahamkara is the toughest. So throughout our spiritual journey, what we are doing is this aham and mama, which is there continuously throughout our life, we have to find out a method of dropping this and looking at Atma separately. Mamakara is Panchakosha, Abhimana, and this Abhimana means identification. So dropping this Mamakara, Ahamkara is the way towards growing in spirituality. Upasamkramati. Now, this is a word which is used in this in the Taittriya Upanishad, and this particular word is what we are going to discuss in a very big detail. Superficially, upasamkramati means reaching, going near something, approaching something. Now, this is a temporary compromised meaning. It is just a literal meaning, but there is a contextual meaning in this particular Taittiriya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad, Upasamkramati means disidentification. This identification with what? With the Pancha Koshas. I don't claim the Annamaya Kosha, the food sheet, the physical body. I don't claim it as myself. Similarly, we don't claim the other bodies also. In the past, we have done these mantras. In the second chapter, the very first section, we said, Sava eva Purushaha. Now, in this mantra, what did we say? That the man, we all consist of the food sheet, but that is not our real nature. What is our real nature? The inner soul of the food is the prana. Without prana, there is no sheet possible, which is the physical body. Once the prana leaves the body, then there is no more. We don't say that there is annamaya kosha. The koshatvam comes only when there is consciousness. So upasamkramati comes to atma, and we have to slowly negate this identification in all the five koshas. Asman lokan pretya. This is also a part of the mantra. And here Shankaracharya explains to us this word, Asman lokan pretya. So here it means in this world itself, the wise person takes away his mind and his emotional attachments, and then he focuses on Brahman. He does not see the Annamaya Kosha as the self because he says that the Annamaya Kosha is nothing but the Samashti Annamaya. So the Vyashti always dissolves in the totality. The physical body, which is made up of five elements, resolves into the Samashti physical body. That is the first step. So the entire world is Annamayam only. If my body is made of five elements and the whole world is five elements, where will the five elements of my body go? They will resolve into the same Annamaya. Asman lokan pretya means drishta adrishta. Drishta adrishta means whatever is seen and whatever is unseen, they all have the same resolution graph. Now, this oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma goes from Annamaya to Pranamaya to Manomaya and to other koshas. How does it go? One by one, the five koshas are resolved into the Samashti. So Anandamaya Kosha is ultimately resolves where? Anandamaya Kosha is the last, the happiness Kosha, which we have seen before. It resolves into its substratum. Substratum means adhishtanam, which is the Karana Shariram. And in Karana Shariram, there is Brahman. So substratum of the Sthula Shariram, the gross body resolves into the subtle body. Subtle body resolves into the causal body. Causal body resolves into Brahman. The same idea comes in Mandukya Upanishads in the sixth mantra, where the gross body and the subtle body is controlled by the causal body, which is called as the inner controller. The inner controller is Ishvara. Now, Ishvara is Saguna Ishvara. Saguna Ishvara is the controller of the entire universe. That is what it said in Mandukya Upanishad. And then it says, after the whole universe has dissolved into that Ishvara, there is another formless Ishvara, which is defined in the seventh mantra of Mandukya. So the Karana Shariram is not the ultimate. The ultimate is what lies beyond the Karana Sharira. So, first, Shankaracharya says that the general meaning of upasamkramya means it is approaching, reaching, or arriving. But then, in this particular context, we are talking about three questions. If you remember, there are three anuprashnas which we have discussed in the past. Whether Brahman exists, first question. The second question, does ignorant person merge into Brahman? And the third question, does a wise person merge into Brahman? Second question is answered by implication. When you say the wise person merges into Brahman, it means that the unwise person or ignorant person does not merge. That's what it means. Sureshwaracharya, one of the greatest disciples of Shankaracharya, has written Vartika. What is Vartikam? Vartikam is a commentary on Bhashyam. Now, Shankaracharya has written Bhashyam. That is what we are studying. But his disciple has written 1000 verses on Taittriya Upanishad Bhashyam. And then he has written 10,000 verses. What a great disciple is on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashyam. Can you imagine? And that tika is still available. One can go through the Sureshwaracharya's tika on the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which consists of 10,000 verses. That is why I said in the beginning that there have been many, many scholars. There have been great writings of these scholars are still available, but they are all in Sanskrit. Sureshwaracharya differs with Shankaracharya in these three questions. So when you study his tika, when you study the commentary of Sureshwaracharya, what Sureshwaracharya says is the first question accepts Shankaracharya's answer. That means the first question, he and Shankaracharya agree. Brahman Asti. Now, the wise merges into this Abhayam Advaitam Brahma. So this verse here, the third question, that means where does the wise person merge? Does he merge into this Brahman? Yes, he merges into this Brahman. And what is the nature of this Brahman? It says very clearly, it is invisible, it is bodiless, it is supportless, and it cannot be explained. See how Upanishad describes Brahman. This is the definition of Brahman. What is the definition of Brahman? We have done this verse before. This is the seventh section we have completed before. There are four words used. Adrishye, Anatmaye, Anirukte, Anilayane. Four words. All of them, they talk about the fearless. That means the one, see, I will explain to you later why if you accept Brahman, you become fearless. This is said in all the Upanishads. The moment you accept this oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma, you say there is nothing else in the world. If there is nothing else in the world and this is the consciousness is the alone is the reality, then there is no second thing which can create fear in my mind. If my mind accepts that Whatever is this Brahman, whatever we call this as Brahman, it exists, and Upanishad says, I am that Brahman, I am that pure consciousness. See, this pure consciousness is a very abstract thing. It's a formless. The Upanishads itself says it cannot be described. But still, we have to understand through our intellect. It is difficult. That's why I said it is difficult, it is challenging, but it's possible. When I go through this type of analysis, slowly my mind accepts the existence of something which is formless. Initially, the intellect will challenge you. How is it possible? But then the logic and our anubhava, yukti and anubhava is used by the bhashyam. Yukti means logic, tarka, and anubhava. Anubhava means in our own experience, we do have a situation when there is advaitam in our experiences. There is nothing else except me in sleep state. The Upanishad says that is what is Brahman. That is what is called as pure consciousness. So the wise merges into Abhayam, Advaitam, Brahman. There are two words in Vedanta used. One is Dvaitam and Advaitam. The entire philosophy is built on these two words. Shankaracharya builds up this entire Advaita philosophy on two words, Advaitam and Dvaitam. You negate Dvaitam. Dvaitam means what? The subject object dichotomy, division. There is a consciousness from where this subject and object are projected. I mean, Mandukya Upanishad has got a very beautiful analysis on this subject in the third chapter of Mandukya. Very beautiful. Your intellect, your intellect will accept this logic. Very beautiful logic Shankaracharya uses to confirm that there is a consciousness, there is an Atma, which projects this entire Dvaita. Consciousness is Advaitam. Awareness is Advaitam. Advaitam means what? There is no second, there is no two things in consciousness. But through the mind, it projects the dream world. Through the mind, it projects the waking world. What is the common aspect of waking world and the dream world? This is the way the Mandukya analyzes. I'm just giving a synopsis. The commonness between waking world and the dream world is what? Both of them are Dvaitam. Dreamer and the dream world. Waker and the waking world. So the commonness is Dvaitam. In the sleep, in the dream, who projects the dream? Very easy. Everybody will agree. It's my own mind. One mind projects the entire dream world. It becomes the dreamer and the dream world. Shankaracharya says, use the same logic. It is the same mind which you have in the waking state. It is projecting this entire subject and objects. Very difficult to believe this, but he says that is a fact. Try to understand. You are coming into analysis of Vedanta. In Vedanta, this is the way the Shruti logic is used. Same Atma, same consciousness projects the waking world, projects the dream world, gives us experiences of both the worlds as per the law of karma for the jiva. If you are asking why, the answer is as per the law of karma. But you don't get involved in it. Let that jivatman continue. But I have become more knowledgeable about this consciousness. If I am this consciousness, I accept Advaitam because both of them are resolved in this Advaitam, which is what the Upanishad discovers for me. When I am pure consciousness, I merge into this Brahman. I means what? The Jiva who thought he was different than Paramatma, he then says, I am the same as Paramatma. That means the consciousness is the same in both of us. Awareness in the world, awareness in this body, that principle of awareness is the same. So here the second question, does ignorant merge into Brahman? No, ignorant can never merge into Brahman because he will always divide Brahman into subject and object. Wise is fearless, one with the Brahman. Ignorant is fearful. Ignorant person sees Bheda. Now, you have to understand the Sanskrit word Bheda, Abheda. We're going to discuss that Bheda, Abheda now a little bit more deeply. Upasankrama Vakyam is this Asman Lokan Pretya. Now, Pretya in Sanskrit has got two meanings. Pretya means, does this person, a wise person, after he leaves this body, does he merge with Brahman, or he can live in this world and merge with Brahman by turning his attention from the world to the Atma. Turning away from what? Nirapeksha bhutva. What do you mean by turning away? Turning away means dropping the emotional dependence on the family, on possessions, which is called as mamakara tyagaha. That means how do I see it? See, once I am trying to know my real nature as consciousness, slowly in my own mind, I should be in a position, in a way, I should be in a, I should have a way to drop mentally, not physical. Physically, you can own everything. But mentally, you say, okay, these positions are there. As long as I'm in the waking state, it is there. In the dream state and in the sleep state, none of these positions are there. Therefore, even in the waking state, I try to use the world, but I don't get attached to the world. That is what is called as mamakara tyaga. Now, ahamkara, I-ness, is there throughout our body, sthula sharira. Mamakara is with the possessions which are in the world. Ahamkara is in the body. I am the body is the aham. Aham in the body is called as ahamkara. Aham means what? I-ness. I-ness. I-ness starts from the Annamaya Kosha. Then it goes to the Pranamaya Kosha. I am the prana. I am the breath. I am the mind. I am the intellect. I am the happiness which I experience. That is what is called as ahamkara. Now, this ahamkara has to learn to turn its attention to Atma. How does it do that? It says that the Vyashti is the body. Samashti is the total. Virat. Virat means totality, physical, gross physical body in the universe is called as Virat. Virat means it is the Devata. With the consciousness, that Devata controls this entire physical body also. So I give my physical body to the Virat Devata. Similarly, my mind, which is called as Taijasa. In the individual, it is called as Taijasa. Now, the mind, individual mind is surrendered to the total mind, which is called as Hiranyagarbha. So this way, when I resolve the gross body to the gross prapancha, subtle body to the subtle prapancha, causal body to the causal prapancha, I resolve. This resolution is called as upasamkramya. That is what Shankaracharya derives this meaning for this Upanishad. See, normal meaning is what? Arriving, approaching is what is the meaning of upasamkramya. But Shankaracharya goes very deep like this. Now, how do I try to understand that this whole five koshas is mithya? It is a false experience. So the first thing which Shankaracharya says is, you say that first it is a kosha. Kosha means it is a covering. It is covering my real nature, which is Atma. Then the second thing, that is what is called as koshatva nishchaya. See, these are all the reasonings. This is what is called as shastric reasoning, shastric logic. Then the second thing, what does it say? The second thing, this is the beauty of Shankaracharya. Koshastva nishchayaha. Then the second is what? Logical analysis. Karyatva nishchaya. Atma is the cause. Body is a product. Product will always resolve into cause. These are the ways in which I learn how to dissolve my ahamkara. See how beautiful it is. See, normally we'll say how, you just drop the ego. But then if you don't know how to, if the teacher doesn't tell you how to drop that ego, then he is not covered it fully. He is not taught properly. It's very difficult. It's very easy to say drop your ego. But then how? Unless you come to the Bhashyam and understand how Shankaracharya tries to dissolve this ego, and you also try in the same way, then you also try it out, you will also succeed. Karyatva nishchaya. This aham is a product. Whenever I am in the waking state, only this aham comes. But where does it resolve? It resolves in Atma. In the sleep state, there is no aham. So, Karanam is Atma, Karyam is Aham. Very simple. It's a product. This Nishchaya. Nishchaya means I have full conviction on this teaching. In my intellect, I make up, I am convinced that body mind is a product. Nama Rupatva Nishchaya. This is the third stage. See, the intellect has to go through these 5 stages so that you can say in your own intellect, I am now convinced I am Atma. Body and mind is only a nama and a rupa. Nama means what? Name. Rupa means form. Pot is a name and form for clay. Chain, ring, bangle. Chain, ring, bangle is name for clay. Karanam is clay. Body and mind is a name and form for the Atma. See, beautiful analysis. Step by step. If it is Nama and Rupa, if it is name and form, and it is a product, what is the next logical analysis, logical conclusion, corollary? Mithyatva nishchayaha. See, all these things are given in Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. I've just given you a summary here. If you want to study the Bhashyam in detail, you can go through this and study the Bhashyam of this mantra itself, the 8th section. It's very, very, if you know Sanskrit, if you know Hindi, you can go through the Gorakhpur edition and try to figure out a little bit more deeper. Mithyatva Nishchaya means what? Whatever is a product is name and form. If it is name and form, it is a false entity. What is the reality? Reality is clay. Reality is gold. Reality is Atma. What is chain, ring, bangle? They are all name and form. They are appearances of one clay, one gold. Similarly, the entire world of Nama and Rupa is nothing but Sat, Chit, Anand, which is the definition of art. The last point you should understand in order to understand that the world is mithya, it is this last fifth point. What is the fifth point? Fifth reason tells us logically any mithya vastu, any false entity has to rest on satyam. Rope snake has to rest on rope. Mirage water has to rest on sand. Dream has to rest on waker. Waker has to rest on earth. Now, this is called as going deeper into your own inner level. It is called in Sanskrit as pravilapanam. See, Vedanta is a study of going deep within yourself. It is not an outside journey. It is not like going to Mars or Jupiter, which is an external journey. Like your body travels to these countries, that is an external journey. But this is a mental journey which you have to go deeper within yourself and find out where is this I notion which I have in the waking state? Where is this I notion getting resolved? Because it comes back again tomorrow morning. When the body is there, immediately you start seeing, oh, when the body is there, the I notion comes again. But in the sleep state, this I notion is not there. Where is this I notion getting resolved? That resolution ground is possible when you go through the three levels: gross, subtle, and causal. In Mandukya Upanishad, it is very beautifully analyzed how this resolution takes place. And there, that symbol is taken as Omkara. A, U, Ma. A, U, Ma means the three alphabets. They get resolved into silence. So similarly, the gross body, subtle body, and the causal body get resolved into Atma. That is what is said here in Taittriya Upanishad. You have to link up. What is there in Mandukya is the same truth, which is getting revealed here. Pravilapanam means resolution or the final meaning of the word Atma. So the entire Stula Shariram is resolved into Annamaya. Similarly, Annamayam is resolved into Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, and Anandamaya resolves into Atma. So far, this is the analysis of the previous commentary of Shankaracharya. So here he summarizes, in the next commentary, he summarizes this. That if you do this analysis, fivefold analysis of logical reasoning, you will be able to resolve the Annamaya and see the oneness with the in the world. Come to Samashti, all of them, they will resolve into Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. They all are seen resolving into Brahmatma. Now, that Brahman is not subject to objectification. That is why in the previous mantra, in the seventh Anuvaka, it is said that Brahman is Adrishye. Adrishya means you cannot objectify that Atma because it is the subject. It does not have a body. It is formless. Anatme. And it is not categorically available for definition. Anirukte. See, Shankaracharya is revising the previous section in this section, in this particular portion of commentary of the eighth section. And it is anil layane. Anil layane means it has no support. See, every time, whenever you try to come to this Vedantic class, you will always have to come to something which is very deep in you. All Upanishads, they ultimately come in this particular Upanishad, these four words are used. In Mandukya, there are 10, 12 words are used, seventh mantra. In Mundaka Upanishad, another few words are used. Kathopanishad uses another 10, 15 words. So if you assemble all these words which are indicators of Atma, then your mind travels correctly and it will reach this Atma. So a person who studies this Upanishad should have his own reference mantras. My suggestion is form your own reference mantras. When you study, you say this mantra from this Upanishad is dealing with this topic. This mantra, just to have a book of mantras, just for your own reference. Bhagavad Gita also. Form your own top 50 mantras, top 100 mantras of Bhagavad Gita. 700 mantras are there, 701 mantras there in Bhagavad Gita. You don't have to remember all the 701 mantras to arrive at Atma. There are 100 mantras, 100 verses in Bhagavad Gita. If you remember those 100 verses, it is more than enough. Some chapters itself, you can drop it. Few chapters, you just say which are the main mantras. It always, whenever you want to have a reflection on Bhagavad Gita, this is what I have used. I don't go through the entire Gita. I just say, okay, I want to revise Gita today. So I go through my small notebook, which has got these 100 mantras. Okay, so Pranamaya resides in Annamaya, and Aikya Darshanam is oneness. Aikya Darshanam means oneness is always with reference to Vyashti and Samashti. We always have to learn as an individual I, it has to merge into the total I. Anandamaya Kosha is not the final destination. This is what many seekers, they make a mistake. That is what they take the sleep state itself as the ultimate Brahman. No, sleep state is not Brahman. Anandamaya Kosha is not Brahman, but something which lies beyond the sleep state. For example, in the sleep state, the final destination is only Anandamaya Kosha. The Kosha is divided into Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. We have studied what are all these three levels of happiness. Then it says Ananda Atma Brahmpucham Pratishtan. That means within the Anandamaya, which is the destination, the fifth destination, there is an Atma, which is called as Brahma Atma. So from Kosha, you have to go to Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. These are the four words: Anilayane, Anikriye, Anirukte, Abhayam Pratishtha. Abhayam means fearless. Atma is fearless. The body is not fearless. Body will have the natural fear of, which is inbuilt, instinctive. But that is not what we are talking about. Fearlessness of Atma is a very different type of fearlessness. You have to claim I am Brahman, which is the support of the entire cosmos, which is the Brahma Ananda. Now, Shankaracharya says, I will start the Upasankramati Shruti Vichara. See, yes, now almost 15, 20 slides have gone only for the preparation. Before he starts this Vichara, he asks this question, why should I inquire? Now, this is again deeper. See, this is the style of Shankaracharya. See, he himself will create an objectionist. Then he will say that objectionist is his philosophy is wrong. The correct philosophy is my philosophy. Upasankramati generally means reaching. But there is no space-wise reaching when a jiva can say, I am going to join Brahman spatially. No, there is no spatial movement involved in jiva becoming Paramatma or joining Paramatma in the merger. Similarly, there is no time-wise movement. After 10 years of study only, I will join Paramatma. No, there is nothing like that. Jiva does not become Paramatma. Jiva does not reach Paramatma. Jiva happens to be Paramatma. Both Jivatma and Paramatma is one and the same. That is the analysis. That is the conclusion of Shankaracharya in this complete analysis, which runs into 120 slides. Now, why Upanishad is using reaching is this inquiry. Why the Upanishad? Why the verb reaching, upasamkramya? It is through the reaching. Why does the upasamkramya reaching is used? The word upasamkramya here, Shankaracharya says, here the reaching means due to ignorance, self-ignorance, jiva feels I am away from Paramatma. I don't know that I and the Paramatma, which is the Adhishtanam of the whole universe, the cause of this universe, Brahmavida apnoti param tadesham yukta. Second chapter, first verse. It says, from Brahman only this whole universe has come. Brahman is that cause. Brahman means Paramatma. The Jivatma thinks I am physically away from Paramatma. Therefore, Upanishad is using due to self-ignorance, one has got a notion that he is away from Paramatma. What happens through knowledge? Through knowledge, this feeling of separation goes away. Dropping the sense of separation is figuratively called reaching. See, these are all the ways in which Shankaracharya explains beautifully. There is no hope of reaching Paramatma in Vaikuntha or in Brahmaloka. That is not what is aimed here. Moksha is my nature. It is my swarupa. Today we think that moksha is very far away. Therefore, dropping that notion is what is called as reaching. That is how Shankaracharya explains this section. Dropping sense of separation is called as upasamkramyam. This is the ultimate conclusion. But then this is only it is said initially so that you know what is the final answer. Now, the word upasamkramya means oneness. Anupravesha means the same oneness. Anupravesha means what? Entry into the body. Like, for example, the original face enters the mirror as reflected face. Is the reflected face different than the original face? Does it really enter? No. It is only a seeming entrance. So similarly, Shankaracharya says that this upasamkramya means it is a seeming entry, it is a seeming difference between Paramatma and Jivatma in this universe. In our experiences, it is seeming. That is why I said there is a Maya Shakti which is involved. That Maya Shakti is nothing but your mind. That mind, when the consciousness travels through the mind and the sense organs, it gives us an appearance of plurality and Dvaitam, but really it is consciousness alone is the fact. This is the ultimate truth which Shankaracharya wants to reveal. It is revealed very beautifully in Dakshinamurti Stotram and others, Nirvana Shatkam also. But they are each one has its own style. Now here Shankaracharya says, is an inquiry required or not? Through the inquiry, we will establish oneness. So the 11th verse and the 12th verse in the 8th section is dealing with this inquiry. With regard to the oneness, Shankaracharya brings in a Purva Pakshi. Purva Pakshi means what? He himself brings an opponent. Who asked this question? What are the questions he is asking? The first question is, who is this jnani who is doing the job of reaching or merging with Brahman? Who is this jnani? How does he go about reaching this Brahman? Who is doing the job of reaching? Is he different than Paramatma or is he identical with Paramatma? Look at the questions. See, these are the questions asked by Shankaracharya himself. Why does he ask this question? He wants us to think. When we think, we will never think on our own. But when he tells us this is the way to do a logical analysis of the Upanishadic mantras. So what are the questions? Who is reaching something? How Jnani reaches Paramatma? Is Paramatma ultimate destination? That Jnani who is traveling, is he different than Paramatma? Is the reacher different from the reached? Is there a distinction? Is there a separation? So Jivatma and Paramatma, are they Bheda or Abheda? Abheda means what? Bheda means different. Jiva is different than Paramatma. That is a normal thinking, correct? We always think that Paramatma is is got superior features. I have got inferior attributes. We are different. But that the Upanishad says it is identical, oneness. Aikyam is there in all the Upanishad. Tattvamasi, I am Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. All these are all telling you about oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma. So Purva Bakshi is now asking, okay, you are talking about this oneness and you want to inquire into this oneness, but why do you want to inquire into this oneness? Why you want to? It is Chinta Virodhi. He says, now look at what the Purva Pakshi is saying. Why do we need to do this analysis? Because the Purva Pakshi is saying, if they are separate, Jivatma and Paramatma, if they are separate, and then the Upanishad says, Brahman having created the universe entered it, that means it is Shruti Virodhi. See, now all this will require understanding of the logical analysis. The one who thinks I am different from Paramatma does not know that he is the non-dual Atma. Ekameva Advitiyam. All these are Shruti Vakyams, Tattvamasi. So, if Paramatma and Jivatma are actually different, the Purva Pakshi says that you will be going against the Shruti. Mahavakyam will be in trouble. That is option number one. What is option number one? Jivatma is different than Paramatma. Suppose you say Jivatma is different than Paramatma, it will be going against the Shruti. Because Shruti saying Taittriya Upanishad, so Kamayata, this particular verse says Paramatma alone entered Jiva, entered the body as Jiva. And therefore, all Anupravesha Shrutis are indirect Mahavakyas. That means this particular verse, which says that Jivatma wanted to become many, Paramatma wanted to become many, and therefore he created the bodies and he entered as their reflections, reflected consciousness. Today also I have reflected consciousness. Reflect consciousness means I am aware. I have self-awareness. That is what is called is the reflection of the Paramatma. So Anupravesha it tells me that Jiva Paramatma alone has entered the body. That means there is no, it is like the original face and the reflected face. Reflected face is nothing but the original face. And then the Shankaracharya quotes other two mantras. One is from Taittriya Upanishad, this 261 and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Then he says Chandogya Upanishad, this mantra here, which says that Sadeva Saumyam Idamagre Asid. And here also Brahmava Idamagre Asid. These two mantras, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and Chandogya Upanishad says, in the beginning, before the creation, there was this pure consciousness alone. One without a second. This is why I keep on telling non-dual. There is only one Atma. Ultimately, this is where you have to reach. Beyond the manifestation and the unmanifestation of the universe, there is Sat principle. Sat means pure existence, pure consciousness. And in this Chandogya Upanishad also, that in the sixth chapter, which is sixth chapter is the most important chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, which gives the Mahavakyam Tattvamasi. So in this one verse, what it says is that the body has a root in water. Without water, there's no body. If you the content 70% content, the doctors and the scientists they say 70% of the body is water. So suppose you remove water from this body, there is no body. Okay, first, where does the water rest on? Water rests on fire principle. Where does the fire rest on? This is the way the analysis goes in Chandogya Upanishad. Fire rests on Sat. Sat means what? It is the pure existence. In all these Upanishads, they all talk about ultimately there is one resting place for the Jiva. In the later part of this mantra, it says that the person who's dying, you can watch this also, the speech, he stops talking. His speech merges where? In his mind. Where does the mind merge? Mind merges into prana. This is the process of death. Speech, person stops talking. It merges into the mind. Person is still alive, but the mind is still alive. Where does the mind merge? The mind When it leaves the body, it merges with the prana. See, these are the facts which are given to us by Upanishads. We can see this, experience this in our day to day life, and then we can accept it as a fact. Where does the prana, see, but the prana, when it leaves, where does it leave? Where does it merge? It merges in the fire element in the body. The body is still warm, but the prana has left. Where does the fire element, where does it merge? It merges into Brahman, the supreme deity. See how deep is this Chandogya Upanishad? See, through different methods, they are trying to reveal Brahman. One who says Jivatma Paramatma is different is ignorant. One who says Jivatma and Paramatma is same or identical is a wise person. Bheda is not a fact. Abheda is a fact. Shankaracharya, he has got all the Upanishadic mantras, thousands. I've told you how many thousand mantras are there in Upanishads. In his mind, he has got all his mantras like a computer. He can quote. I mean, you just watch in any bhashyam, you see how he quotes different mantras from different Upanishads, especially in Mandukya Bhashyam, which I'm doing on Sundays. I mean, there are 300, 400 mantras he quotes in the entire Bhashyam of Mandukya Upanishad. Amazing. He'll quote, and all that will make a meaning when you study the context. In Aittriya Upanishad, there is a beautiful mantra which says that the father nourishes the woman in the embryo in her womb. It is the father who nourishes the embryo in her womb. The father nourishes the child before and after its birth. The child again is born and he nourishes and continues the world. That means what? That Atma consciousness continuously gets reflected and it keeps this entire universe alive. Sarvam etat Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. Soyam Atma Chatushpat. Mandukya Upanishad. See, these are all the mantras which says that Jivatma and Paramatma are one and the same. All this is Brahman. Suppose everything is Brahman, that means Jivatma is what? It is only one small portion, infinitesimal small. If you take Abheda, there will be a subject object contradiction. Subject and object cannot be the same. I mean, this is the analysis. Yeah? This is the way the logical reasoning is. Suppose you take Bheda. Bheda means difference. Jiva is different than Paramatma. Then what happens? Aikyam, oneness will get into trouble. Mahavakyam will get into trouble. That is how Shankaracharya analyzes. So there is no question. If it is Abheda, Abheda means if there is a difference between Paramatma and Jivatma can never reach Paramatma. Because subject can never reach the object and the vice versa. Another logical explanation is, suppose you include Jiva as Paramatma. Suppose you say Jiva is Paramatma, oneness. Then the question is, Jiva samsara will become Paramatma samsara. Paramatma will become also samsari. See, this is the way he analyzes. Some of these analysis may sound a little bit funny, but the some of the Purva Pakshis, when they come with such questions, Shankaracharya puts all these types of answers. But suppose there is oneness, that means there is no Ishvara at all. There is only Jiva or Paramatma. There cannot be, there is no, there is no, there is no difference at all. Why do we call Jiva and Paramatma different in Vyavahara is another point. So, these are the answers, these are the logical reasons which Shankaracharya gives in his commentary on this Upasamkramya analysis. There are, ultimately, he says there are dosha in both. Suppose you say Jiva and Paramatma, Jivatma Paramatma is different, there is a dosha, there is a defect. They can never reach. It will be subject can never be object. That's one dosha. If it is bheda, it will be against the Shruti, which says it is all one. Then Shankaracharya brings in another Purva Pakshi, another opponent. Now, suppose these two are not fitting, he says in this particular portion, why don't we take the third stand? Let us accept Jivatma and Paramatma are both different and non-different. This may be a little bit difficult to understand, but this is the third Purva Pakshi. So here he says, suppose you take both of them, they have difference and also non-difference. This is what is called as Visishta Advaita. Whole and part inquiry. Shankaracharya says, no, 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 no. He says, your thinking is completely wrong. You can't have a combination of Veda and Abheda because it is mutually contradict. So he says, let us continue our analysis. This is the revision portion. I'm not going to take it because I've already discussed all this. The three pakshas, Bheda Abheda Paksha, Bheda Paksha, and then Abheda Paksha. These are the three options. What are the problems in each of them is mentioned here. This is a revision. In the third version, identity indifference. That is what is called Bheda Abheda Visishta Advaita. It was popular during Shankaracharya's time. It is called as whole part relationship. For example, tree and a branch. The tree includes the branch, but the branch does not include the tree. Branch is only a part of the tree. Tree is the whole, branch is the. So this identity indifference, Shankaracharya negates in Brahmat Sutra. Ultimately, he says that only truth is this particular mantra which is there in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Where does it come in Brihadaranyaka? Chapter 5, section 1, verse number 1. We chant this all the time when we close our talk. But this is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And this says the entire universe comes from Brahman, which is Purnam. Therefore, the universe is Purnam, which universe is infinite. Brahman is infinite and universe is infinite. So what is actually coming out and resolving is only an appearance. That is the meaning of this mantra, which is Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Jiva and not identical but different. And here in this next box, Shankaracharya says, both of you, all these Purva Pakshis are all wrong. Answer to the Purva Paksha number 1 is, if it is Bheda, Mahavakya will be contradicted. If it is abheda, merger is not possible because abheda means they are already one. So there is no question of jiva merging into Param. So he says we need to do this inquiry to find out what is the correct way to look at this aikyam, this oneness. For example, suppose you go to you refuse to go to a doctor, then you can't get a cure for your disease. So similarly, he says, come to the Veda, study the Veda properly, and you will get your answers. For the first Purva Pakshi, he says, generally he says what you are saying is correct. As a general rule, Shankaracharya says you are correct. Inquiry is always useful to arrive at the correct interpretation of Shastra. Okay. Um, why do you conclude we'll not arrive at the right answer? That he refutes here. It's a very small, minor point, which I don't want to cover. Uh, Advaitin is generally a minority because he comes with the logic of Paramarthika Satyam and Vyavaharika Satyam. Vyavaharika Satyam means Mithya. Satyam Mithya is the proposal of Advaitin. There are 12 schools of philosophers. Their visions are different. Broadly speaking, there are Astikas and Nastikas. Astika means they accept Veda Pramana. Nastika means they don't accept Veda Pramana. Veda is a Pramanam. Pramanam means source of knowledge to know who you are. Buddhism doesn't believe in Veda. The Charvakas, they don't believe in Veda. There are 4 schools of Buddhism. Fifth school is Charvaka. Jainism also don't believe in the Veda. There are 6 schools which don't believe in Veda. There are 6 schools which believe in the Veda. They say Veda is there and it will tell us who you are, what is the nature of this world, who is the Ishvara, everything. They say yes, it is there available in Veda. But then the conclusions are very different when they study the Veda. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. Uttara Mimamsa means Vedanta. In Vedanta itself, there is Shankaracharya Matham. Visishta Advaitin is promoted by Ramanujacharya and Dvaitam is proposed by Madhavacharya. Shankaracharya says all these are all interpretations, different interpretations of Jivatma and Paramatma. Bhedavadis are Nastikas. That means whoever says, I don't believe in the Veda, they are all Bhedavadis. Bhedavadis means they will always say Jiva and Paramatma are different. Pratyakshas and Pramanas, they reveal only duality. Pratyaksha means what? The eyes can only see duality. Therefore, only duality exists. But Advaitam does not go by the Pratyaksha Pramana. Advaitam goes with the Shruti Pramana. Shruti says there is only Advaitam. My eyes are revealing Dvaitam. But Advaitin say, I will go with the Shruti. For example, a samsari may say, I am sorrowful because I experience sorrow. What is the argument of Shankaracharya? Shankaracharya says, experienceable attributes belong to the object of experience But you are the subject of experiencer. You are the subject experiencer, the Sakshi. Therefore, you are not sorrowful. See, this is what's called as Shruti logic. Laukika logic is what is the common man will think? I am very sorrowful, therefore that is I am a samsari. I am a part of this world of Dvaitam only. Dvaitam means samsara. Advaitam means moksha. Very simple. If you want to understand Shankaracharya, it's two words. Dvaitam means samsara. Dvaitam means plurality between subject object, which is there in time, which is there in Vyavahara, which is what we experience all the time. My eyes will only give experience of Dvaitam because that is the way of creation. But the truth is what? Advaitam is that fact. I am the consciousness principle is the fact. I am the consciousness. That consciousness, which is a sentient principle, is the experiencer. It is the spiritual content in this whole universe. If you understand the spiritual content of the universe, like the space is the inner content of all the objects in universe, space is one. Similarly, consciousness is one. If you accept this truth, then you have the possibility to say, I am free. So, those who believe in the Shastra, they are the ones who are benefited. Mandukya Upanishad, again, now he comes back to all this analysis of Mandukya. Uh, these are the verses which are quoted to say that there is only Advaitam. See, this is the way Shankaracharya goes from one Upanishad to the other Upanishad, and then these are the ways of his analysis. And here he talks about Satkaryavada, Asatkaryavada. I'm not going to the depth of this because this I will be doing in Mandukya Upanishad. And but for those who are interested, you can go through these notes which are there. This is the revision portion of what we have covered today. These are some of the mantras, Mundak Upanishad, which says that there is only one thing. If you know this one thing, you will never be born again because you will be free from ignorance and you will claim your immortality. Jiva who becomes Jnani has to be Paramatma already. This is the analysis of Shankaracharya, who says, you look at the first mantra, which says, the knower of Brahman attains the supreme. That means through knowledge, you can attain Paramatma. Through ignorance, you will feel, I am separate from this Paramatma. So today in our session, we have covered how Jivatma should think with reference to that God principle, which is consciousness. I am, Jiva is the same as Paramatma from consciousness angle, but from the world angle, Jivatma and Paramatma are different. Worldly, I go and pray to the temple. In the temple, I pray to the God. This is Vyavahara. Don't confuse Vyavahara with fact. I will conclude here and we'll see from this verse, from this next slide, we will start. From this 1085, we will start next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I'll go through the chat box first and then I'll open up for questions. The first, since Gita is the ultimate reference book to all the theist Indian philosophies, could you please share the most important mantras of Gita that directly applicable to Advaita philosophy? Good. Uh, See, I may not, I have got one section of mantras of the Bhagavad Gita, which I had done about 10, 15 years ago. Uh, that is, which are the mantras which talk about the Jiva aspect, which mantras talks about the Ishvara aspects, and which are the mantras which talk about the oneness. Uh, Saroj Basnet. Okay, I will try to send you those mantras. It is there in the website. There are, I mean, I had made the segregation. I will try to send you those mantras by email. But the main chapters, I will tell you now, which are the main chapters which are Advaita Vedanta chapters. First is chapter 2, from verse number 12 to 25. All Advaita. Completely. Go through these from 12 to 25. All verses are Advaita. Then, chapter 6 has got some mantras which are purely based on meditation. Chapter 6 is based on meditation. Those who want to specialize in meditation should thoroughly understand chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 7 and chapter 9, they have got some Advaitic mantras, which is the mantras which in chapter 7 is Para Apara. Para Vidya refers to the Advaita philosophy. Apara Vidya is all the Anatma portions. Chapter 9 has got some of these mantras, which are again, some mantras are there. The main portion of Advaitam is taught in the 13th, 14th, and 15th chapters. In the 13th chapter, the Kshetrajna portion, Kshetram and Kshetrajna, there are two sections in that 13th chapter. Kshetrajna portion is the experiencer. It is consciousness. So 13th chapter is talking about Kshetrajna or Nyayam. You see, the whole of 13th chapter is Advaita chapter. 14th chapter also is Advaita chapter only. 15th chapter is also Advaita. 13, 14, 15 are the best. That's why many people have started by hearting those chapters because they feel that they should remember those mantras. And Shankaracharya uses those mantras left, right, and center. 13, 14, 15, he uses this hundreds of times in the Bhashyam. Hundreds. You can make your own list. I'm telling you, you try to make your own list whenever you study the Bhashyam and you like some of the mantras in it, you make a note of it. And you say that this is what is telling me about my Advaitic nature. So 13th chapter I told you, 14th chapter is this Guna Atita portion. And Guna Atita means a person who has dropped the gunas, he is called as Gunatitaha. That portion deals with Advaita. The 15th chapter also is Advaita portion, Uttama Purusha. That portion. Ultimately, Lord Krishna says, that beyond the Purusha, Shara Purusha and Akshara Purusha, there is Uttama Purusha. That is the main mantra of the 15th chapter, which is the Advaita portion. So, like this, if you study Bhagavad Gita, you will understand. You try to make a list. You see, if you have a small book of Bhagavad Gita, where you can read only the meanings. So that type of a book, if you have, you can easily refer and you can finish off the whole Gita in about a week. You do one or two chapters in a day. A book like this, I don't know whether you can see it. Yeah, something, uh, a small Bhagavad Gita book, which has got the meaning and the verses. Because now you are all experts in understanding Advaita. The moment you study two Upanishad, Taittriya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, if you study well, you will know the entire Advaitic philosophy. You don't need anything else in life. You will require nothing else except revise these two Upanishads. You will have the entire knowledge with you. So, Sanoj, have I answered your question? Shanmugam, can you unmute everyone? Yeah, Sanoj, now you can unmute yourself and speak.
Yes. Yeah, I was, referring to the book by from ISKCON, the Gita book of ISKCON. But since they believe in the Dvaita, and their important mantras are quite different, seem
Yes, they are
different.
different.
Yeah,
Yes, they are. Yeah, correct. You see, that's correct.
yeah, that's why I have asked this question.
Yeah,
So I'll go through it, and if possible, I'll request you to share, the
I will
ones
send
you
you.
have.
I will send you the list. Saguna Ishvara, Nirguna Ishvara, and I will send you those mantras.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. What is the final resolution of Bheda Abhidaya arguments? The final resolution is that uh, there is basically Jiva thinks that he is different than Paramatma. I am different than the cause. The cause is Paramatma, but I am Jivatma. Jivatma is a product. He thinks he is different. The What Shankaracharya says is there is ignorance. In ignorance, people think that they are different than God. This is his analysis. You will have to go through the book, through this analysis. From Vedantic point of view, this is only from the highest point of view. Like I said, at the Vyavaharika level, you have to practice Dvaitam. That means when you are in the society, practice Dvaitam. Dvaitam means what? I am different than Paramatma. In Vyavahara, I pray to God, I do all the pujas, I perform all the rituals which are required in my family life. But this is Bheda at the Vyavaharika level. What you should say is, factually, it is Abheda. Factually means what? In truth, in the final analysis of Vedanta, there is no Dvaitam. That is why the word Dvaitam is very important for you to focus on. So, Venkatesh, throughout the Taittiriya Upanishad and Mandukya Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, try to understand, keep in at the back of your mind the two words, Dvaitam Advaitam. Dvaitam is what I will experience all the time in my waking state. Don't fool yourself by saying just because I am a student of Vedanta, from tomorrow onwards, I will be living as Atma and I will see no Dvaitam in the world. That is very foolish. Shankaracharya warns all of us in Mandukya Upanishad. He says very clearly, Dvaitam is our experience, but Advaitam is our nature. You can't uh, reject your nature. Nature is what? Always it is there. Consciousness is my nature. So Shankaracharya's final resolution of Bheda and Abheda arguments is there is only oneness, there is only Abheda in this universe factually, but experientially, Bheda will always continue. Am I clear, Venkatesh?
Yeah. The doubt came because there was this statement, no? If it is Abheda, then merger is not possible.
Correct.
So finally we have to consider that it is Abheda only.
No, you see, finally it is not Abheda. You see, Abheda is at the Vyavaharika level, at the Paramarthika level, at the factual level. Abheda means oneness. So when you when you have the vision in your intellect, if you have the vision of Shruti, then you will see only Abheda. That means everything is in me ultimately. Ultimately, everything goes back to this consciousness. See, during the session, I made a very passing remark, a passing example of Mandukya Upanishad. If you are able to catch on that, you will be able to accept what I say as the truth. What is it? This comes from Mandukya. I'm trying to teach you Mandukya Upanishad and to explain to you Abheda. What Mandukya says is, consciousness is one. Try to pick this up. It is very subtle, but if you can pick it up, you will never ever have this doubt about Bheda Abheda. Bheda means difference, Abheda means oneness. And then there is a third philosophy, which is a mixture of both. The third philosophy you can forget. It is Shankaracharya drops it straight away. We will be continuing this discussion next week also. For another 3-4 sessions, this will keep on going on, but you will get the final answer only after 2-3 sessions. He will come to some conclusion, which we'll see. So, coming back to Mandukya. In Mandukya, in the third chapter, there is a very beautiful analysis. And there Shankaracharya's brilliance comes in. There is a verse there, and in the third chapter, there is a 30th verse. And in that verse, they say, I mean, this is how the verse says, that all of us, we accept that the dream is mithya. Dream is false. Third chapter, 30th verse. We all accept dream is false. And dream is what? Dvaita. Okay, just understand this portion. Dvaita means subject, object, perceiver, perceived, experiencer, experienced. Dvaita. This is what is called a duality. What do I say? It is my mind which projected the dream world, which is false. Dvaitam is false, I accept. Because dream is no longer there, it came and went away. Now, Shankaracharya says, apply the same logic in Vedanta, in the Jagrat also. But add one small change. The change is, okay, in what he says, in Jagrat, in the waking state, what do we experience? Subject object. I am the subject. I experience the objects of the world. Objects of the world can be many. I experience so many people, so many mountains, rivers, so many things are all objectified. So ultimately, what it is Dvaitam only. Again, there is a subject, experiencer, and the objects experienced, perceiver, perceived world. So between the dream and the waking, what is common? Dvaitam is common. And what is the instrument I'm using? It is the mind. It is the mind which is projecting in the dream world. It is the mind which is showing me the vision in the waking world also. But there is one fact I should remember. In both the waking and dream, there is a light in which both are being projected. Like you have for the film, you see there is a light behind which is used to project the film. Similarly, for the mind, where does the mind gets this energy to project? That energy comes from consciousness. That energy is the Atma. So don't focus on the Dvaitam portion. Focus on the oneness between all the Dvaitam which you between the experience and the experiencer and the experience, there is Dvaitam. But when you focus on the Atma, in the Atma level, everything is only one. Everything becomes one. For example, in the sleep state, everything becomes one, undifferentiated. So, subject and object differentiation, which we experience in our waking and dream, is a mithya. It is an appearance. It is not Satyam. What is Satyam? Changeless consciousness, which is what is my real nature, which is my immortal nature, fearless nature, because there is no Dvaitam in it. Advaitam is the reality. And drop the Dvaitam, focus on Advaitam as the reality, as my intrinsic nature. That is the final teaching of all Upanishads. Very beautifully, Shankaracharya does this analysis. He says Dvaitam means it is mithya. If dream is mithya, Dvaitam is also there in the waking world. It is also mithya. It is there. Mithya means what? It is available for experience, but it is not the ultimate truth. Okay. So, Venkatesh, have I answered your question?
Yeah, I think Advaitam is the finality.
That's correct. You got the final message. Advaitam is the final message. It is a fact. But my eyes will show Dvaitam because that is the way the world is designed. Through the Upanishad, I learn Advaitam is the ultimate reality. You got the message, but you need to just keep listening to the scriptures again and again so that this idea of Advaitam becomes strong in your mind. And then you become fearless because then you say, what is this world? I mean, the body is just an external dress. I mean, it is only an external dress. When you study the Prashno Upanishad, chapter 4, the first mantra of Prashno Upanishad, chapter 4, there are 11, 12 verses in Prashno Upanishad. Again, Shankaracharya's Bhashyam is brilliant there. Amazing. What keeps one awake during sleep? What is the Devata which remains awake all the time? That is the question asked by the student to his teacher. And that Devata is nothing but Atma. It never sleeps. Consciousness never goes to sleep. Mind goes to sleep. It is an instrument. Which are the organs which go to sleep? Where do they remain in sleep? These are the questions asked by a student. The Guruji, the teacher, Pipalada in Prashna Upanishad says, like you have a toolkit where a carpenter keeps all the tools back in a bag. Similarly, the jiva, the sentient principle in this body, withdraws all the tools which he uses during the waking state and puts it into the the tool bag. The tool bag is called as Karana Shariram. And then he merges with the Atma. He remains in his nature. This is our daily experience. Every day we do this. But nobody has come and told me that this is what the jiva does every day. If Upanishad teaches me that this is what happens to me in sleep, whether it is in sleep or whether it is during death, what do? I take all the tools which I use during the waking state, all the 17 organs, including the Antakaranam, I put it in the tool bag, which is the Karana Shariram. I remain all the time as Atma. This experience of the world during the waking state is a passing phase. Let it go on. Enjoy the waking state, but keep this factual data of Upanishads in your background. Okay. Ramachandramurthy says Jivatma has to continuously think that it is only reality and look at the world as a dream. Is this right thinking? Yes, you're right. World is a dream. World is nothing but Maya. Maya is a Shakti of Atma. Atma is always awake. It is the consciousness principle, the one which never sleeps. The question of Prashna Upanishad. So Jivatma has to continuously think that it is the reality. I am that is why they say Nishtha, Jnana Nishtha. Jnana Nishtha means what? I have to say I am that pure consciousness. You live in the world. You live in the world, do the activities as and when they come. For example, you are a father, you take care of your son or a daughter, you do your family duties and so on. But at the background, always remember, I am the. That's all. That is what is called as Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means inner freedom. My mind does not worry. My mind stops worrying about life. This will happen, that will happen. Ajnani will always keep on worrying. But a jnani, what he will say, I am a jivan, I am a free person. I go through the experiences, but I am not the experiencer of those experiences, but I am the pure consciousness. Yeah, Rama, is it clear? Okay. The next question is Manikandan. Yeah, Rama, are you able to unmute yourself? Yeah, go ahead.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah, Manikandan. So we need to keep Paramatika Satyam only in our back of mind and run our daily life duties. Only we need to bring this knowledge when we face any problems. Okay. Without getting attached. Yes, you are right. Manikandan, your understanding is correct. So keep this at the back of your mind and go through your life experiences. then what will happen? Then you will have uh, uh, the strength in your mind to face life. See, you will have the strength in your mind to face life. Upanishadic knowledge, the knowledge of Atma makes your mind strong. And whatever you may face, let it come. But you will say, I can handle it. That confidence in a person comes because of this knowledge. See, by repeated listening, people accept the fact that they are Atma. It doesn't come overnight, but repeated listening. And your mind, after some time, will start contemplating. Many of the students have told me this, that I have listened to you for 5 years, 8 years, but now my mind knows what is contemplation. And then they go into the next level, which is conviction. After contemplation comes conviction. Again, what happens? I keep listening. I keep listening. Then what happens? Oh, you know, and for the conviction alone, Bhashyams are very useful. Bhashyams give you the logic, and there is nothing to beat Shankaracharya's logic. And thoroughly understand why the Upanishads statements are true. Okay, Shanta, go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you for this talk. And my question is, um, you mentioned about this no, being sorrowful. Okay, so when you say you're being sorrowful, it is a feeling which you experience. It is not the ultimate because it is experienced by the sense organs. Now, sense organs are lit. I mean, if you look at Kena Upanishad, it is the light behind the sense organs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now my point is this Vyavharik Jivan, that is, the samsara, is going on where you keep experiencing or feeling and all of that, and knowing that that feeling is only experienced because the mind is lighting this and the mind is lit by Atma. So how would somebody then think that okay, people are I know people who feel that okay, this is all the Jivan Mukta person will say, if I have pain, okay, I've got pain. Why do I need to go to a doctor? It's understood. It's all um, uh, pararabdha karma and leave it. So how would then the functioning of this world, or a person functioning in the world, seems to change after you have this knowledge? Although we say that we will live the duality or the Dvaitam life uh, in normal, but behind your mind, it's always there that this is mithya. So, um, don't you think it's going to be difficult or not that easy to live a Dvaitam life after you have understood Advaitam properly or conviction has happened?
Okay.
Because
There
it
are
is
two.
it is
Yeah.
already a difference feeling already. So when I feel that when I really get convinced of Dvaitam, or it's sort of the light, as I said, right now I'm still in that, walking on that path, but when that conviction is 100% and there's no shakability on that conviction, then I mean, how will it be possible to live a Dvaitam life?
Okay. Good. See, what you have to look at is look at how you treat your dream today. Only when you have woken up, you will say the dream was mithya, false. So similarly, the same thing will happen to you when your conviction happens. then only your mind will accept the fact that this Jagrat is also Mithya. So you see, during the experience state, for example, a dreamer in dream state will never say it is Mithya. Similarly, a waker in the waking state will never say it is Mithya. So when you have woken up to your higher nature, which is Atma, then only standing on Atma only, you will say this waking world is Mithya. So at any time, you will always, it'll not be in the waking state. During the waking state, this will happen. You see, what Upanishad says is that while you're listening to the scriptures, your mind will get the flexibility to look at have a higher vision of your waking state. That is what is called as Paramarthika Satyam. Paramarthika Satyam means, it doesn't mean that you will start seeing anything different in your Vyavahara. It is only in your mind level. You gave the example of medicine and pain. If there is pain in the body, go and see a doctor. That is Vyavahara. That is the Vyavaharika state. You are in the waking world, you have a body, you follow the rules of Vyavahara. Similarly, a dream thirst can be quenched only by a dream water, not by the waking state water. So what I'm trying to say is that living, that means while you're in the waking state and having experiences of your mind with the sense organs and the objects of the world, this is how the waking state is defined. So during the waking state, you can lead a life of Advaitam only by saying what? At a higher level, all this is not there. It is still possible to live. You see, your doubt is very valid. What will happen when I have that knowledge? Whether I can still continue my life? Yes. The answer the Upanishad promises you and says you can still lead a life of a Jivan Mukta. That is how all the Swamijis have left. They have led their life as a Jivan Mukta. And they continue doing the whatever is the mind, whatever is the going on in the world, it continued. So this question is a genuine question, I understand, but the answer is factually it is like, for example, sunrise and sunset, your eyes will keep saying yes, there is a sunrise, there is a sunset. But knowledge will tell you there is no sunrise, there is no sunset. It is only the earth which is going around. So similarly, the knowledge, there is only one consciousness, one Atma is there. It will be permanent. It is your nature. You will know it like you know like Shankaracharya says, it is like holding an apple in your hand. Similarly, I see an apple, I see myself as Atma. Okay. That is how the knowledge will happen.
Okay.
I am consciousness. You will never have this doubt because it is there. The only thing is, how do I handle my life? What Shankaracharya says is, life handling will become easier because you know yourself. You know, I am, suppose, for example, a dreamer comes to know he is not the dreamer, but he is the waker. Will he have samsara during his dream? No. All the difficulties he is enjoying or he is suffering in the dream, he will not have. But what happens is, prarabdha karma, this is something which the Shruti tells us that the others will see you as a body-mind complex. So others, not you. You yourself have got that clear knowledge. So Shankaracharya wrote Nirvana Shatkam. How did he write? He wrote so many this thing, but all with the knowledge that I am the pure Atma. What I am doing is as per whatever is required of this nature of the world. That's all.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
It is a genuine question. I accept it, but the Shruti will give you
Have
the
to reach
answer.
there to know it.
Yeah, you have to read. That's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Jacqueline, you wanted to say something?
No, I want to ask something. There's one creator, and everybody is calling him or her God. And it can be Hinduism, Buddhism, and Allah and Christianity. So the
Yes.
question is, in the scripture Vedanta, where is this person that called God? God is equal to the universe, is equal to the creator. So where is he? Or I mean, where is the creator?
Okay. Good. Good. This is a very difficult question. It's like a child asking the mother, "Can you show me God?" You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Where is
Okay.
he? Because
Yeah. Where is God?
he's
Okay. What?
he's in everybody. Everybody, everybody is the universe and is in everybody. So where is he? How am I supposed to reach him?
Okay. See, what ultimately Vedanta says is, whenever you see the world, you understand that world is nothing but God. So world is another name of God. Now, how do I resolve this? The resolution is ultimately what we call world is nothing but consciousness in a different form. That's all. It may be difficult for you to accept it today because what is consciousness, and you are saying God is consciousness. You see, uh, the the world which you see before you is a projection of that God. So that whatever you're calling it as God, that God is appearing as this world, and then it is dissolving as God again. In the sleep state, you don't ask the question, where is God? Where is Jacqueline sleeping? Where is, you don't ask, where is Jacqueline? Where is God? Where is my mother or father? In sleep, yeah. Because in sleep you are, that is the way God created this world. See, the world is, what you see is only the manifestation. It is only a projection. Like you have the dream world, a projection during the dream time, and then it withdraws. It becomes unmanifest. So similarly, God is nothing but he is the creator who creates, projects, and then he withdraws into himself, and he remains as consciousness. That is what we say. Ultimately, where is all this world resolution is resolving in? You see it at the same time. Do you experience nothingness in sleep or not? Yes. All of us, we have this experience. So whenever you have this experience, now um, what what Vedanta says is that this knowledge. Yeah, sorry. So this knowledge which we get from the world is ultimately coming from God only. God means what? There is something which is there in me. You're asking me to show where is that God. The answer is, look within yourself and ask this question. Every day, do I experience this world? Yes. Every day, do I experience the world is not there? Yes. If you experience that, then what is that principle which withdraws the world and which shows me the world? That is God.
Okay, it's very interesting. That means as a human being, we always will become, we always will go back to sleep, will go to sleep. That is one of the process. I mean, we call process. I call process. that we have, no matter what, we have to go to sleep, and the next day we are awakened. So
Correct.
it seems like that is the process, and there is a step that we have to go back to become a God where we know nothing, and then when we open, we awake, and then we say, oh, this is human being. We manifest because this is the world.
Correct. Now you're getting you're getting towards the answer. It is God is that principle in which I experience the world. God is that principle in which I don't experience the world, but I am there. Don't forget you are there. You are there, but the world is not there. World is not experienced. So what is the world? World is only false appearance. Exactly like the dream. I think that the world which in the waking state is definitely there. It is very tangible. It is useful. I can put money in the bank and withdraw the money. So many things you will say. Transactability, experienceability, utility, everything is there in the world. But ultimately, what the Indian scriptures are saying is God is something which is in you, which makes this world appear, it makes this world disappear. That principle in you, in which this is happening, that is God, and that is your ultimate real nature.
So that's why all the say, what do you call that? All the guru and everybody is saying that look within, look within.
Yes, now you got the answer. Why they say look within. Good.
Okay.
Good.
So,
Very good, Jacqueline.
so now I understand there was a movie when I was young, The Beautiful World. When I don't understand what is beautiful world, now it's like, if that is the case, that means as a human, we have to go back to become God within, that where we are sleeping, where we know nothing, but then we are awake, and then we see the world, and the world is just something that ought to appear as a human being.
Correct. Whenever you say for a human being, you are referring it from the body level. Whenever you say the world is not there, you're referring it from the consciousness level. Understand the two levels in which you are doing this inquiry.
So in fact, the faith that everybody is talking about is also within. It's not without. It's not outside. The faith.
Correct. Within and without is always with reference to the body. It is never with reference to the consciousness, because in consciousness, in that, whatever you may call it, God or consciousness or Allah or Jesus or whatever, you see, they say in Vedanta that all these religions, the interpretations are different, but the one who knew that the original philosopher who knew they had the same knowledge of God or Advaita.
Okay, appreciate.
Good. Thank you, Jacqueline. They are very, very deep questions, but anyway, this is the way to grow.
Okay, appreciate.
Thank you. I will stop here if there are no questions. Okay, so we'll continue next week, and we'll go through the next phase of our discussions on the same topic of this Veda and all that. Yeah. Thank you. Namaste.
Appreciate. Hari Om.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.